you're listening to these remarks, remember an election is about the voter. It's not about the candidate. We have a representative form of government. And what that means is you pick them to represent your interests. But you have to go out into the community and talk with other people. Because if you leave it just up to them, we're never going to be able to reach everybody. So what you're going to be listening for is that elevator speech, that presentation that you can take with you when you go and talk to your friends and family in the community. And gentlemen, when you're giving your closing remarks, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick randomly. So this isn't going to just go on down. I'm just going to randomly pick your name off here. It's school board, right up to city council, however I feel. You need to give these people an education on how to talk about you. So in your closing remarks, take 2 or 3 minutes each, and then we'll wrap up with final instructions. Let's start with Guy.
Well, ultimately, we're here to represent you. And so I feel like it would be really helpful to hear from my constituents. I want to represent you guys, but my biggest goal is to protect our children. And I feel like the woke policies that are being pushed across our country and all of the schools that's my number one target, is to really eliminate that, because it's not about indoctrinating our kids, and that's exactly what's trying to be forced on them. So I would love to get back to just educating our children, not indoctrinating them, and focusing on the communication pathways between the board and the constituents that we're representing. So the elevator speech would be, Guy is here to represent the constituents, stop the woke policies from infiltrating our schools, and preserving the minds of our youth. So.
Excellent. Josh?
I guess I would just have to say that we've talked about a lot of different things here. I'm going to stand up against or help with responsible growth here, and help, hopefully, with your help, manage how that looks for our future, and again, standing up for our personal liberties and against mask mandates and vaccines and all that good stuff. And then I believe 100% open door policy. I think there needs to be more transparency between what's happening in the city government and the community, and the community needs to be more involved and more kept up to date with the new things coming down the line. And as much as I can make myself available, and that's what I hope to, if elected, get out to the community, is to be able to have more of that community involvement in what's happening. So again, I guess the elevator speech, as you say, is it's our community, our future, and without you guys backing us, we need that communication between all of us. So.
Perfect. Kenny?
First of all, I'll say thank you for being here. It's very important and critical for the community to come out. So each of you that are here are playing a very critical part, and I appreciate that. So thank you. When I was working as a staffer for the Texas legislature 2 years ago, one of the big things that I saw was that not very many people would reach out and contact their legislator. There were two kinds of people that would. There were people that wanted to complain, and then people who actually did the research, had something to say, and were very respectful and brought forth information. Those are the people we need. Those are the people that we valued, and we knew when they contacted us, whether it was an email, phone call, or in person, we knew that they had done the research, and we knew that it was beneficial. And that's what we needed. So being here is really an important part of that. And so for me, on city council, I want to see that cultivated in Post Falls. I want to see more of the community involvement, and I want to cultivate that type of a relationship. We tend to have this idea that there's a people, and then there's a government, and there's a distance in between, and there doesn't need to be. I'm sitting here today, I can talk with you, afterwards I can take questions, I can just have a conversation, and if I fill that seat as city council, that doesn't change who I am. And so we need to continue having that conversation and that dialogue in Post Falls. So for me, in city council, it's not because I want to fill a seat, And rather than being a politician in a seat, I'm a citizen who cares, and I want to be a voice, and I want to hear your voice. So on November 2nd, I appreciate your vote for seat 6 of City Council.
Logan?
Just trying to think of how to sum everything up in the quickest way possible. Very much echoing what Kenny said, is that this is a volunteer position. This isn't something that, you know, I woke up going, ooh, I want to be on school board for the might and power or what have you. It's like, no, it's been a huge stress on me, on my family. This has been quite a long, difficult journey. Something that, you know, in looking at it, it's like, did I want to do this? Not really. But we all have our duty. The basic duty of an American citizen, vote and jury duty, at the very minimum. Some of us have been felt called to do more. So for myself, standing in the gap and doing what I can for the students and for the taxpayers of Post Falls. We're paying for something that tonight we haven't heard a single person who uses the very thing that we're all paying for. That's messed up. That's wrong. How often do you go to a store and buy a product and not use it? And then go and buy another product that does the same thing. We heard how many people are homeschooling in this room. You're paying twice for the same thing. So, I'm willing to volunteer and stand in the gap and be that voice for you. Your job, let me hear your voice. We need to know those things that's important to you as well. I have promotional material in the back. The 3 things that I feel are my biggest issues, we need to keep CRT out of our schools. That critical race theory, that is a cancer to our society. We need to make sure that does not infect our children. We need to have accountability in the schools. We need to be able to reward good teachers, get rid of the bad ones. Right now, there's none of that. And then we need to be able to hear from the parents. We need to acknowledge that. That, essentially, that's who's in charge. And the school board needs to get back to that. So feel free to grab some of my promotional material. I've got signs out there. If you support me, I would appreciate feeling that support. So thank you.
Nathan?
Well, I'm running for seat 4 here in Post Falls, and there's just a broad range of reasons why I'm running, but I would just like to appeal to you for your vote, just because, you know, we talk about city government and government being representative of the citizenry, and I can honestly say, the reason I'm wanting to be on the city council is because I am one of the citizenry. You know, being involved in our local government is a big priority for me. Having been born and raised here, my parents still live here. I'm raising my 4 children here. You know, this is my town, and everything that we do in city government affects us right here locally. It's always a little bit frustrating for me to see every 4 years everybody gets really fired up and amped up about the national presidential elections and things like that. And I think that's really critical that we get involved. But it's the decisions that we make right here, whether it be for school board or city council, or even on a larger level for the county, that affects your life personally. Yeah. You're gonna feel the effect of your decision on who you vote for on November 2nd. I am too, because I live here with you. So my appeal to you is more of a, there's a quote by Theodore Roosevelt that I don't have memorized, but he talks about, it is not the critic who counts. It's the guy who gets in the arena, gets bloodied, and the people in the stands can stand back and say whatever they want. They can jeer and say, oh, you're not doing that right, or maybe you could have done this better. But you need to get in the arena. So my appeal, not only just to vote for me, but for whoever you feel compelled to vote for, be a part of the process. Let your voice be heard, and I would appreciate you voting for me. Thank you.
Dave?
Ed, you're gonna kill me. I want you to ask the question again, because I forget.
You wrap up to
Just the wrap, or, because I thought there was something.
your closing comments. Yeah, this is your elevator speech to them.
Well, can everybody raise their left hand that is in zone 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, I had to say left hand because otherwise the media would have called you a Nazi. This is what we're dealing with. We are dealing with ridiculous people throwing ridiculous words around, trying to terrorize you. Cultural terrorists, these people. They're trying to prevent you from coming out. They're trying to prevent you from making sure that your voice is heard, and not just heard, but electing all of us with the same kind of a mandate that we elected Donald Trump, where it is absolutely undeniable what we want as Americans, as Kootenai County citizens, as parents. Right? The last election for Zone 5 was won with 152 votes and no opposition. Before that, it was won by about 30 votes. And there was opposition there. What I'm saying is, I don't want to just win by 20 votes or 30 votes. I want to win by 1,000 votes. And that means that we're going to take some slings and arrows. That is going to mean that we are going to be called names, because they only do that when people are effective and when people are going to implement real and lasting change. And that is what all three of us are going to do here in Postville School District. So when you are talking with your neighbors, when you're trying to convince them that the media is lying to them, that they are being emotionally manipulated with trigger words, direct them to me, direct them directly to us, the candidates. Let them ask us questions. I've been taking phone calls all day long. There's no reason why we can't overcome the media. And not just overcome it, but overwhelm these people. So one of the best tools, besides getting in direct contact with me, going to our websites that we have or our Facebook pages, is a great little newspaper that's going to be sitting out at the back of this room called The People's Pen. It's got the sample ballot. Yeah, there it is. Hold it up. It's got the sample ballot. It has got an article about why education is so important in Kootenai County when it comes to preserving the culture and the character that this place, this beautiful, wonderful, special place has for all of us. And you can share that with your neighbors. You can share that with your friends at your churches where you go and you shop. So, we've got 6 days. We can do this. And we're going to show the rest of this country that they can take back their schools, that they can have control over their children's education, and that they can resist this Marxist wave of tyranny that is overwhelming America. So that's why you should vote for all of us here. Thank you.
Let's go.